West Ham return to pre-season fixtures against arch rivals Tottenham Hotspur this morning, 11 o'clock kickoff, possibly with a match day live. So make sure you do keep an eye on the channel, because if we do, we're bringing you a bit of running commentary. But we are taking on Tottenham Hotspur at the Optus Stadium in Perth, where West Ham did run out 6-2 winners over Perth Glory a few days ago. Now, when it comes to our arch rivals, Tottenham Hotspur, the Ange Postecoglou era begins for Tottenham, who commenced their preparations with a friendly London derby against our beloved West Ham. Now, Tottenham also go ahead and meet Leicester City and Lion City Sailors as part of their Asia Pacific tour, while David Moyes has already clinched 2 wins in the pre-season fixture build-up so far this summer before we return back to the British Isles. Now, chaotic would probably be the most appropriate way to describe Spurs' 22-23 season, which saw Conte launch a brutal assault on his players. Well, verbal assault, I should say. Newcastle smashed them for 6 goals. And they failed to qualify for any form of continental competition. And for the first time in 14 seasons, that will mean there's no European football on offer for Tottenham this year, as Conte, Christian Stellini, and Ryan Mason join forces to guide Tottenham to an underwhelming, you could say, 8th place finish with 63 goals conceded at the same time. So it was only fitting, really, that Spurs went for a search to try and change their on-field misfortunes, you could say. Several managers were linked and several managers came and went. So Arne Slot, Nagelsmann, Luis Enrique, and even Pochettino were all decided or looked at, but they all decided that the job wasn't for them. And that really forced Daniel Levy's hand to look further down his list of candidates. And that meant that he looked at Ange Postecoglou, taking a punt on this guy, you could say, who's won 3 trophies in one season with Celtic last year. And he's offered him a 4-year contract as he seeks to try and bring attacking football back to Tottenham Hotspur. But the situation you've got, I mean, they've been a little bit busy in the transfer market as well, been bringing in a few players, but they've got loads of different situations going on. So in terms of team news with regards to Tottenham, they've got a few injured players. Rodrigo Bentancur has got a knee problem, Fraser Foster with his back, Brian Gill with his back, Troy Parrott with his groin, and also Ryan Sessegnon actually with his hamstring. But Tottenham have also travelled to Australia without club captain Hugo Lloris, as he is looking for a route out of Tottenham, and it's looking likely that will happen. Now, they have signed a few players. New arrival Vicario should be considered as a kind of maybe for his non-competitive debut. Udogie and James Maddison and Solomon as well could make and get some game time for Spurs. And also, surprisingly so, Harry Kane did travel with the Tottenham squad. Now, Bayern Munich are in pursuit of the England captain, whose contract is now under the 12-month barrier. But it's just whether or not he will come to a deal or not to stay with the club. But what you probably will see is a strong mixture of players from the current setup from Tottenham, and a mixture of new players and also some younger players as well, as they get off to their pre-season campaign. It'll be nice to see early doors what you maybe expect in terms of the style of play that Postecoglou is going to play, but I don't think by far he's ready and prepared for the season, as neither are our beloved West Ham for this task ourselves. Now, coming on to West Ham, we boarded the flight to Australia with only, I think, 8 or 9 senior players there, but that didn't really stop us against Perth Glory. We ran out 6-2 winners with Gianluca Scamacca, Palmieri, Danny Ings, Divine Mbama, and Jared Bourne, of course, getting a brace as well. Now we can put to bed the saga over Declan Rice. We can now focus on the new season and concentrate on bringing in recruits, but we haven't brought in anyone else. And also, our players have returned, our international players have returned back to the training camp in England. Now, they will not be travelling to Australia, obviously, because we've only got one more game to play and they'll be coming back. So they'll meet up with the rest of the squad when they do return from Australia, where we do then take on Dagenham and Redbridge, Rennes and Bayer Leverkusen in more friendly games this summer. So we need to really focus on bringing those recruits in to get them prepared and built up within this squad as well. But we have gone winless in our last 4 Premier League contests against Spurs. But this isn't the Premier League. This is a friendly. So fingers crossed we can get something on the board and do something in pre-season to show the fan base we're trying a different style, because we are trying a different style. We are obviously not going to see the likes of Said Benrahma, Areola, Vladimir Sefal, Souček, Aguerd, Tilo Kira, just to name a few, Paqueta, etc., etc. But I fully expect some of the younger players to feature as well as Loazu, the under-23 centre-back, who did score an own goal, unfortunately, but I thought he'd done all right. And I think you'll see a strong mixture of young players, as what David Moyes has pretty much said in his press conference. But that's good to give these players a bit of a run out. Scamacca, a bit of game time as well. Looks like he's up for the season. Looks like he's a bit excited about what's going to come his way. But it's clear as mustard. It's clear as mustard that we're struggling in terms of depth, and we definitely need to bring some more bodies in. Now, David Moyes and Ange Postecoglou have previously met. They faced one another in Australia back in 2013 when Moyes was in charge of Manchester United, and they took on a team, and it was Postecoglou's A-League All-Stars, and Manchester United did beat them 5-1 at the time. But either way, listen, it's going to be a good run out for the team. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to I think the biggest thing for me is just going to be interesting to see two things: how West Ham set up potentially under this same format. Are we going to go with are we potentially going to look at, with Scamacca sitting in a bit of a deeper role? Are we going to look at this and adventure with this world of having three at the back? But also remember that we don't have the likes of Aguerd there as well. But it's a good opportunity to see some of the younger players. But something we don't know and something we haven't brought to you for a while is how many times do you think West Ham and Spurs have met each other in our lifetimes? That's 216 times if you include the Southern League, Wartime League, Football League, Premier League, and Cup matches. The first game came back in 1899, and you could say we should forget about that one because they did run out 7-0 winners. But since then, they've continued to hold the edge, winning 88 games to West Ham 76 with 52 draws as well. And this is going to be the first time we've met each other in Australia. So let's see what happens. I'll let you know if we do the match day live. You'll get a notification. So if you are new around here, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up. Of course, leave a comment as well. They're just short, sharp, straight to the point match preview. Let us know your thoughts. And stay tuned for the rest of the day because there's going to be plenty of content coming your way because it's silly season and the roller coaster season of transfers is kicking about, and we're going to start making some moves this week. Come on, you Irons.